City of Richmond becoming a prime target for gun violence.
Richmond.
City of Richmond was known as one of the most dangerous cities in the Bay Area, if not the country.
And this is the For Our Future podcast. Let's keep Richmond moving forward. Hey everybody, welcome to the FOF podcast. If you are rejoining us, thank you for your continued support. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now tonight we have a very special guest, part of our in-house Moving Forward family. We're going to talk about our scholarship program and everything that goes on with that, and who better than our guest for tonight. But as we always do, we're going to introduce our regular hosts for tonight. We have that handsome devil over there. His name is Anselmo Ramirez. Anselmo, how's your day going?
It's going great. Hello, everybody. I'm super excited for today's episode. This is one of the biggest projects that Moving Forward has been doing, and we are excited to share information about it.
All right, perfect. And as always, we have Diana, aka Hoka D. Hoka D, how you doing?
So today's been a pretty long, tiring day, but I'm pretty excited because our guest here, a close friend of Moving Forward, close friend of mine. I'm really excited for you guys to get to know her and meet her. So why don't you take it away and introduce her?
Absolutely. Now we have on the left wing over here, coming straight from Richmond native, we have Araceli Vasquez. Araceli, how are you doing?
I am doing awesome. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really excited to be here, and hopefully everyone who's tuned in and it's viewing us and listening to us can get a little information about our scholarship and pass on the information to others.
Now, Araceli, let's go ahead and give a brief little history or brief little breakdown of what you do here with Moving Forward and what you do in the community.
Sure. So I think I need to go a little bit farther back to just me growing up here in Richmond. I was born in Mexico, but I immigrated here to Richmond when I was a little girl. And I went to all of the public schools here in Richmond. I went to Richmond High as my high school, Go Oilers. Yep. Then I went to UC Berkeley for my undergrad. I worked in after school program. That's where I met Anselmo, actually. And then after that, I knew education was a big part of my life. And that's when I decided to go to get my teaching credential and my master's. So I went to get my master's and my teaching credential from University of San Francisco. And since then, I've been teaching. And I became part of Moving Forward 4 years ago. I started as a volunteer at the cleanups and some of the other events that Anselmo and Victor organized back then. And then at the end of that first year of volunteering, Anselmo came up to me and was like, hey, would you be interested in kind of taking lead of the scholarship committee? I'm like, oh, well, what is that? What am I going to be doing with that? So he just gave me a little bit of the whole goal of the program, of the scholarship program. And I thought it was awesome. And I love helping youth and students and anyone really, because it's this scholarship kind of welcomes a lot of people to apply, and so I was really excited to be part of that, of the committee and part of this program.
So you said you met Anselmo in the after school program. So when he was taking your classes, how did you do?
So we were coordinators of the after school program. We were colleagues.
Yeah, no, I have really fond memories of that time. I think we all learned a lot of great experience through that work we did. But yeah, one thing I was just thinking of while you were sharing that, Araceli, was a quote, or actually, you went and met Dolores Huerta, right? And that has always been like so inspiring to me. You said that she told you, or what did she tell you?
So I was at a conference for bilingual education, and Dolores Huerta was the guest speaker for that conference, and I was so excited. She had a line, like an hour wait just to shake her hand and get an autograph, and I'm like, well, that's the reason why I came here. So I stayed in that line, and I met her, I introduced myself, and I said, thank you for everything that you've done, and then she just told me, like, not everything is enough. Like, you have to do more.
Do more.
You have to do more. Like, if you think you're doing enough, you have to do more. And I was like, oh man, like that's a lot of pressure. Yeah. But at the same time, it's a big push, right? So for us to do more in our community, for sure.
Yeah, so thank you, Dolores Huerta, for telling Araceli that, because that may have gave her that little push to help out moving forward, you know. So hey, she's here, and we're super grateful to have Araceli working with us. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely.
I know Diana and Araceli work really closely together with this scholarship program. They briefed me a little bit of what's going on and how everything goes, and it's a process. It's a long process, but it seems like they're both super, super passionate about it, which is exactly what anybody would hope for and would want. So just by a short glimpse of what they do, kind of like I said, it speaks a lot to how they go about this program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've noticed that every year for the past 4 years, every year it's gotten better. And thank you to Diana, because last year I've noticed a great difference and a very positive organizational aspect of the whole process. And so Diana was there to help us with the Google Docs and make sure that we're reading the scholarships and coming together to our meetings and discussing and reviewing them. So yeah, every year it's gotten better, and we just hope for that. That's our hope for the program, the scholarship, to get bigger and be able to serve more students.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And Araceli had the biggest hand ever in helping out with that. So. And she's been with the scholarship program from the beginning. So basically how it works is we're reviewing the applicants that come in, right? So Araceli, in terms of that, what would you say is your favorite part about the whole scholarship selection process, and what do you enjoy the most when it comes to that?
Yeah, I think my favorite part is just reading their personal statements, to be honest. Of course, reviewing the whole application, but that focus in the personal statement and how they express themselves, and what they're writing on their personal statement we get to know them a little bit in that way. And I think that is my favorite part, how they've grown, the challenges that they've faced. How are they committed to their community? And for sure that's a big aspect of the scholarship application.
Mm-hmm. And you know, just so the people viewing at home know, like Araceli talked about how we've progressed over the years from the very beginning, about 4 years ago with the scholarships, and to now, how much growth we've been able to organize and put together this project. But like, all of this started from a group of people who wanted to make a difference in the community. And we didn't necessarily have all the experience of putting together a scholarship program. We didn't have the experience of organizing something of this magnitude, but we just decided to do it and learned along the way. And it's not, I say that so that the people at home can know, like, hey, maybe you have something that you're passionate about doing in the community and you want to help people too. Or maybe you want to help this project, you can. But just so people know, we are not getting paid to do this. This is something that we felt passionate about, that we wanted to do to help people. Because if we don't tell people that, people sometimes think like I'm like some executive director of some like $1 million organization. It's not that. Trust me, it's not that. So I gotta let that be known. You feel me?
Right.
Very true, Anselmo. I mean, I remember 2 years ago, I believe, we had to do fundraising for our scholarship program. So I remember walking with Victor on 23rd Street and asking our local vendors, like, would you sponsor our scholarship? Would you be able to donate some money? And so that we're not giving the money. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money to actually give to students $1,000, $2,000, but just being involved in our community, we get to know people in our community who are willing and able to donate to the scholarship program. And yes, I agree with you. Every year we've improved, and yeah, from here on, hopefully we could have more money to give out.
Yeah. I mean, like the first years, we were just going up to random businesses, knocking on their door without having a contact or anyone saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Are you interested in helping out? And I mean, that's kind of bold, right? To just go and do that. Yeah. That's what we were doing. Yeah. And, you know, some of the stuff I forget that we even did. So thank you for mentioning that. It's so long ago because we've done like so many different things. But yeah, that was part of the process. And now, like I mentioned earlier, off camera, we've been able to build relationships. And so now we have people who, you know, have really liked what we're doing and have continued to support year after year. So hopefully they continue supporting this year.
Yes.
But, you know, that's just part of the little backstory. But a little bit more history about the project, right? It started off with a 5K fundraiser for backpacks and school supplies. And it was just for that. And then after the success of the first year, Diana joined in. We've got a ton of more support. Araceli joined in more. And we decided that we wanted to be able to do more for the community. How could we do that? Scholarship program. That's what we decided, to go forward with the scholarship program. And the rest is history, I guess.
Right?
As they say.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been like that long already. It feels like we've only been doing this for like maybe a year, 2 years. And let me emphasize, we're floating now. We're not, you know, we're not like going under. We're not, you know, super rich. We're happy that we're pretty even, and we have like consistent contributions and stuff. So yeah, like Araceli said, like Anselmo said, we've made strides, and we're happy where we're at right now. There's like a lot left to do, but we're pretty content right now. But yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe it's been going on for this long already. Like, this is gonna be the 4th year. It really feels like only a year or two.
Yeah. And same thing with the 5K. We went into organizing a 5K with no experience organizing a 5K. We said we're going to do a 5K. We did the 5K. It was successful, but we learned a lot along the way. And I think something that we've adapted is the growth mindset, the growth process, so that everything that we've done, we always debrief, we always see what worked when we execute it, and we plan and do and reflect, and then repeat the process again and again and again and again. And I think that's what has helped us get to the point we're at now. And hopefully in a year or two, we're able to look back at this and say, wow, we've made even more progress. $100,000 goal, or
right.
you know, at this rate, who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you can see with the recipients of the scholarship that we've awarded the money. I was looking through them. Like 2018, we had 4 recipients. 2019, 5 recipients, and then last year we had 10 recipients. So that's what I'm saying. That every year we're getting better, we're improving, and hopefully we have that support from our sponsors to give more scholarships.
Yeah.
That's definitely in the works, right? So let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Let's do that.
So, with the success and the growth of the program, let's just say I, John William Guzman, am looking to further my education. How do I go about applying for this scholarship that we're talking about? Araceli or Diana?
Yeah.
Which one of you guys wants to take the lead here?
So I'll name a few points, and then Araceli, feel free to jump in. Basic qualifications: you have to be within a certain age range. We're not trying to be like ages or anything, but the grants that we receive is for, you know, high schoolers to early college. It's really for the youth of the community. So number one, 29 is the oldest like we're looking to support at this point in time. Doesn't mean it won't happen in the future, but at this point in time, the way grants work is they're specifically tied to youth. So that's number one. And then number 2, you have to, at minimum, be committed and enrolled to either a 4-year university or a vocational school. So that's how we work. We don't discriminate. And Araceli can touch a little bit more when it comes to the vocational school. She can like elaborate a little bit more, but we're open to like vocational if you're enrolled and you already have good to go, or 4-year universities. And you have to have above a certain GPA, and I'll let Araceli take this part away.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
Thank you, Hannah. So the GPA minimum is a 2.5. Of course, that's awesome. I think we encourage a lot of people to apply for the scholarship. Same thing with the age. So the age is 17 to 29. I mean, I feel like my generation, my age, we just missed that cut. So it's open to a lot of people who are willing and able to, and they're applying to further their education. So 2-year, 4-year, vocational. We were talking about that also includes technical school or trade school. I know big programs like electrician or plumbing. Those are big programs that a lot of people are interested in now. So go for it. Apply for the scholarship. It could help you with your books, with classes, with so many things. So the other big thing is you need to be participate in a minimum of 2 moving forward events. That could be cleanup every first weekend of the month. It's a community hike, and then the second weekend it's a park cleanup. So we invite our scholarships applicants to join us in one of those events. Minimum 2, right? Or more, of course. We invite you now. And the other one is just to demonstrate an involvement in your community. So I know we recognize that last year was a little bit difficult to do in-person volunteering, but I know people have gotten creative with how they volunteer and serve their community. So if you haven't had a chance to volunteer in the past, right now you're on time, because the deadline for this scholarship is July 15th. So you could apply through the website, Moving Forward website. You could follow us on Instagram and Facebook and social media, and there's a link on the website for the scholarship application.
And we have a question here from Manuel Funes. So he asked, does an email with student number counts as acceptance letter from a community college from out of state? So yes, partially. So that's definitely a part of it, but to verify, we need the most up-to-date transcript to prove that you're currently enrolled, you're attending, or like let's say you're in high school, we need your high school transcript and like your statement of intent to register from your university that you're intending on going to, or like your vocational school that you're intending on going to. That's how we verify.
Yeah, please keep sharing the questions. I think those will be really helpful throughout the show.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about the volunteer work and community service work, and that's a huge piece. So just so that anyone viewing at home knows, that is what we're looking for, right? People who are invested in the community. Just like with what we're doing with this project, we're looking for young people who are also dedicated to the community. And so the idea is that when these young people go get educated and come back to the community and give back to the community. And so when you're applying for the for this scholarship program and completing the application, make sure that you keep that in mind. So when you write your essay, include the information about the community work that you've done, right? The things that you want to do to help better the city of Richmond, right? The things that you're planning to accomplish and do. So just keep that in mind. I wanted to mention that because that's a very important piece.
Yes, for sure. So this is coming from people that grade your are going to review your application. So it goes way above GPA, because there's a lot of students that apply with great GPAs, right? That community service component is something that's really going to set you apart from the other applications. You can have that 2.5. You can barely make it with the 2.5. So, and that's fine, but we want to see a well-rounded applicant and somebody that it will contribute to their community in the long run. So I could definitely attest for that. I'm sure Araceli can. I'm sure someone can. I'm sure everyone here can. So.
Speaking of that, so what makes a good applicant? What's a good candidate for our scholarship program?
Yeah, I think like Diana said, a strong candidate will be someone who could demonstrate their community service, their involvement in their community, in their city. Have they made any positive impact on their community? So I think for sure that's a big emphasis, a big focus for us, the scholarship committee, who's going to be reviewing the applications. And another thing that I think we've missed is that we want applicants, another requirement, I guess, is students who live in Richmond or attend a school in Richmond,
Very important part.
So yeah, that's what Anselmo said. Like, we are very passionate and we have a strong connection to this city, to our community of Richmond. And so that's what we want our candidates to be able to show as well, that they are willing to get a higher education, but maybe in a way come back and help your community, right? And continue your community service and continue your involvement with your neighbors, with your community. So yeah.
Yes, for sure. And one thing Araceli and I were talking about kind of offline before we started was we really look for the applicant to fully answer and address a prompt, because a lot of the times we get some applications that don't necessarily answer the question completely, or you can kind of tell that the essay is copy and paste. I get it, students are applying to hundreds of scholarships maybe, but we really take that into account and into consideration if they're taking the application seriously, if they're filling everything out correctly, if they're really putting the time and the work. That will definitely set you apart too, if you really answer everything carefully and thoughtfully, for sure.
And I think that's something that will help you in any scholarship application where there's a writing prompt. I definitely know what Diana's talking about. Some people just copy and paste and use the same essay. And I'm not saying you have to start from scratch each time, but you may need to frame and make some adjustments to your essay to fit what you are being prompted to write. Just make sure that you really consider that. And I would highly recommend getting another set of eyes on your work. I know sometimes it's a little bit challenging, or you maybe even could cause anxiety to have someone look at your work, but that is important. It's such an important step, because sometimes you overlook things when you're looking at something so much. I edit stuff all the time, and if I look at something too long, my eyes start going cross-eyed. So make sure you have someone else look at it, not only for just grammatical stuff, but possibly even making sure that you're staying on topic.
Definitely wise words there. It answers my next question a bit, but if anybody needs any additional help with the application, is there any advice that you guys can give applicants for some additional help?
Yeah, I think that in the past we've had workshops on how to fill out your application. I don't know if this year is going to be possible, but for sure, I think emailing myself, if that's something that you have a question about how we could further support you with submitting your application, your application. That's really good advice to maybe have someone else review your application before you submit it. And yeah, that's a really good question, actually. That's something that I haven't thought about.
Yeah, the door is open.
Yeah.
I think with moving forward, the door is open for people who need support with applying. And not only that, there are other people in the community who I know would want to be able to help. Now, another easy thing to do that anyone can do is Google. I love using Google. Google is just the doorway to so much information. And so you can do a quick Google search and get some quick tips there. But if you want some one-on-one, call John.
You know, he did say the door was open. The headquarters
Yeah.
for moving forward. And someone, what's your address again?
Nice try.
Almost got you there. But, you know, Araceli, you are also a teacher. You did mention that you worked at an after-school program with the handsome devil. I like to call him handsome devil. You know, in Selma. So I know that you're passionate about this. I know that you want to help kids, especially our youth, get ahead in education. So what is it? What sort of what do you hope to accomplish overall? Let's just say the long run with our scholarship program, with moving forward.
For sure. Before that, I also want to let them know that, reach out to your teachers. Maybe your teachers could give you a little bit of feedback as well on your application and your personal statement. So for sure, that's another resource that you guys have. But yeah, for me, I started an after-school program coordinator, and I saw the need for students to have a goal, right? A future goal, like something that they're looking forward to and accomplishing and feeling super positive and good about themselves. And so I wish I could help more with moving forward. It's hard being a mom as well and working as a teacher, but I hope to be able to help with the scholarship program for many more years to come. I hope that we could raise more.
Save that for later.
I hope we could raise a lot more money and be able to give more scholarships to the youth, to people who are they want to go to school and better themselves, for their families, for their siblings, for their community, right? So that's for sure something that I want to encourage everyone to have that goal and pursue it, right? And you could do it. So, and we're here to help you with the scholarship. So if you need money, apply.
And like that makes me think, like, I know why I decided or why I'm working on the project. And also, Araceli says she wishes she could do more. I think we all do. Right? But there's only so much that we can do. That's why we need more volunteers if you're interested. But like, I know why I am involved with moving forward and why I started working with moving forward. But I'm interested to hear everyone else's.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah. So like, personally, I know firsthand the feelings of not having enough money or support to be able to attend college, or feeling as though it's a major burden. So I know how that feels. And I also know how it feels to not feel like you have all the support that you would desire or need to feel like you would be successful if you were to pursue a higher education. Because maybe people around you don't, maybe you're a first year college student, right? And so you don't have anyone that has blazed the path, so to speak, for you. So it's uncharted territory. You don't know who to ask. And maybe you don't even know or believe that people around you understand the value in you pursuing a higher education. So if you have all that balled up, you don't have the support, you are less likely, and that's statistics, I don't have them in front of me, to pursue a higher education. And so it's important that people from our community know that there are strangers out there, us maybe, that want you, young people viewing, to know that you have support. Whether you truly believe it yet or not, when you get that check, you might change your mind. But I think that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Sure. I would say, and I mentioned it a little bit, like I touched on it a little bit before on the podcast, but I definitely love helping, and I'm in this because I'm a first gen college student. So then I really felt the difference coming from the West Contra Costa Unified School District system. I came from the public school system, and I noticed that there was good teachers, right? But then a lot of the time, the specific schools that I went to lacked the resources. So when I did eventually attend college, I it was so hard, and I noticed like the disparity between myself and between kids that were going to like these really good private schools, and so it was a struggle. And so I really had to work hard to graduate, and I really had to work hard to and I did bad in my class at first, but then, you know, I had to work hard to improve eventually and graduate. So then for me, that really hits home personally. And so, yeah, like if anyone wants to send me their application or whatever the case in point is, I mean, I don't have the time to look through it with a fine-tooth comb, but I'll definitely give you pointers, because I'm all about that. Like, I'm all about trying to equal out the playing field as much as I possibly can. So that's why I'm here, for sure.
Yeah, I think, there you go. Do it again.
There you go.
I think we all have that in common here, where we all have that helping trait, and we want to help out as much as possible. First generation college student myself, I know exactly when someone was talking about not having anybody blaze that trail for me. I struggled with self-confidence because I didn't have that. So when I had the chance, or when I committed to helping with moving forward, that was one of the things that I hope to get to help with, is helping these kids understand that coming from West Contra Costa Unified School District, like Diana did, like I did, like Anselmo did, doesn't necessarily mean that you're not good enough. So helping with any kind of guidance, helping with, like Anselmo says, getting you that paycheck, that I promise you will make you feel a little bit better, at least when you go and buy your books or whatever it may be. So helping in any way possible is a trait that we all share here, and I think that that's what we plan on doing and keep on doing, and hopefully we get to that $100,000 mark that someone was talking about. And you bet, and like people, you best believe we will. I'll tell you that, but shoot.
What about you, Araceli?
You're right. I mean, I am a first generation college student as well, and for sure that's something that I want to inspire other youth from Richmond, from the community. I hope I did that with my brothers. My brothers both are in college right now, and one of them is graduating from UC Berkeley this year. So shout out to my brother Abraham. And I think so. I think that's what we want, right? We want to provide that little extra help for those students who just need that little extra push to go and pursue higher education, whatever it is, right? 2-year, 4-year vocational. Like I said, I've been listening to a lot more people going the route towards trading school as well. And that's fine. That's awesome. And as long as you come back to your community and help out and inspire others and push them to do better as well, then I support that for sure.
So I think this is a perfect segue to my next question. All right. So we talked about our background and our demographics and how we got to where we are now. So can you guys talk about the backgrounds and demographics of some of the previous applicants that have received our scholarships?
Yeah, I was amazed last year by the diversity, right? Like, it should reflect our community, Richmond. Richmond, it's a very diverse city. So we were happy to see so many applicants applying from, like you said, from different ethnic groups and from different economic backgrounds. And even like they're pursuing, right? We had applicants who were pursuing art school and things like that. So that was very nice to see that as well. And so we encourage everyone to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that last scholarship program term, we had people going to UC Berkeley, people going to Howard,
to Stanford, to
USC.
Yeah,
right.
Like a lot of school, UCLA.
And I know some of those schools sound really prestigious and all that, but I don't want that to discourage anybody from applying, because that is not a key focus if you're going to Cal or Stanford, right? You can be going to whatever school. I'm not going to mention no bad school, but you can be going to whatever school and pursuing a higher education. That is enough as long as you meet the qualifications, which we should probably read off exact. But it can be found on the Moving Forward website, movingforward510.org. But make sure that does not discourage you.
Oh, and really quickly too, like a caveat to that point, those students, a lot of them weren't attending college yet. A lot of them were from public schools, so like Richmond High, De Anza, Kennedy. So they were from WC, West Contra Costa Unified School District. They were from that school district, but a lot of them were admitted to those schools. So like, yeah, but it really didn't matter. They were coming from public schools, but we're just saying, you know, they were phenomenal applicants. For sure.
I wonder if there's a cool, trendy way to pronounce that acronym.
That's hard, right? WCC
USD. You know, some of them are kind of cute, you know, like some.
You get used to it, you know. I work with
BOFA, you know, something like that.
Another point that we haven't talked about, it's people who have won the scholarship, they could apply again. So we did have a recipient last year who a couple, right? You're right. Couple that received the scholarship 2 years ago and then last year as well. So again, anyone who knows about their scholarship, apply. Just do it. Go for it.
Was it literally a couple? Like, were they dating or?
No.
Oh, okay.
They're like best friends though. But they're like, I don't know, maybe on their free time they like apply to scholarships together, which is smart, you know. But yeah, that's for sure something that I regret not doing when I was applying or going to college, like applying to scholarships. You know, like there's so many scholarships out there. I know it takes a time, I know it takes effort, but I feel like once you do fill out an application, of course read and maybe do a little bit of tweaks to your personal statement, but you could use a lot of that information for another scholarship. So for sure do that. I encourage everyone to keep applying for scholarships because that helps a lot. Little by little it adds up for a lot of things that you will need once you enter college. That's a good thing that you brought that point up, because I had the same kind of mentality too, but I think it was just maybe a mind block. I was just thinking like, oh man, like these kids are so smart that are applying. I'm not gonna apply. I'm not gonna get it. Oh well. Like I just went with that negative. Don't do that, because we're not expecting you to get a 4.0, you know? Like just make sure you do the work when it comes to community service, and you will take care of the rest. We'll look at that.
Right. And it is going to happen. There is going to be times when you apply for a scholarship and you're not going to get it. But that's okay. It shouldn't discourage you. It just means that you have to look for more.
Remember, you miss every shot you don't take.
It's true.
I think Bruce Lee said that. No, he didn't. He said, be water.
Be water. He has a lot of sayings. But we have a question here. Thank you, Leslie, for bringing this great question up. When is the application due?
Very good
Who
question.
can tell us that?
Woohoo. So the deadline is July 15th. But of course, don't wait till the last minute to submit it. We are taking applications now. So please start filling out your application, spreading the word, sharing with your friends. It's not competition, it's friendly competition. You maybe all three of you could get the scholarship. So yes, don't just go for it. So yeah, July 15 is the deadline.
And please make sure that you submit in either PDF format or paper. You could send it to us at P.O. Box 2174, Richmond, California 94801. It's all on the website. You don't have to write it down now, but if you wanted to. And PDF form, because we did have people applying last year where we had some trouble accessing the documents. And you got to think, if you're applying for a scholarship and you're not submitting the documents in an easily accessible format, it's not looking great already from the beginning, you know? So this year, PDF only. That way we can actually access and see what's going on. Because imagine if you applied on July 15th, you waited until the last second, and you submitted as a Google Doc, and you didn't give us the password or access codes. Now what? It's not looking good. So make sure you really take note of that. That's a change, but make sure you take note of it.
And that's something that you should have into consideration for anything in general. Like you said in some way, I think that's just a wise note to have. Just PDF is a universal file format or whatever format. Just for anything that you're going to apply for. So that's another thing that you should have in mind.
Yeah, and I think it's important. PDF versus Word. Word is usually editable. It's a lot easier to change things. So when it's PDF, you can flatten it out. People can't change your stuff around as easily unless they have the PDF program, which I do, but I'm not going to do any of that, don't worry. But PDF is the way to go. Gold standard, I guess, and across all different industries. You always want to use PDFs.
It's the blue ink of file formats.
Can you still mail it as well?
You can definitely mail it. Make sure that you include everything when you mail it, right? Like Araceli said, don't wait till the last day to mail it either.
Right.
Because then, who knows? Maybe you get lost in the mail.
So what should be some things like a checklist per se for our applicants to have?
The checklist is provided when you go onto the website, or you can find the website link on our Instagram page, but we have a checklist for you on the actual app, so it'll tell you everything that you need before you submit. So it trust me, it's a lot easier for the people grading to thoughtfully grade your application when you give us time to do it, because if it's last day, last minute, then we have to read it last minute, because we have to come up with a choice soon. So just give yourself time and with submitting.
And so the checklist, y'all do a quick rundown. Application, check. Essay,
Check.
participated in at least 2 moving forward events. That was one that we mentioned. Make sure that you are involved.
Check.
2, check. School transcript,
Check.
acceptance letter,
Check.
or some form of official documentation that lets us know that you are actually attending school, or accepted. Viewed or participated in the For Our Future podcast. So if you're tuning in now, which is optional, it's going to look really good. We're watching in the comments. We know who's watching. So look.
We got to tap on the algorithm. We got your info.
You're ahead of the game, especially if you're commenting. That's showing us something, The part of it is, look, I want you, the viewers at home, to imagine that you worked really, really hard to raise $20,000. And you raise that money for a specific reason to give away to people from your community that are going to school, right? So this whole situation that we put together, this whole scholarship application, is so that we can make sure, at least do our due diligence to select people that we strongly believe are going to finish school and come back and give to the community. So that's all this is doing. This is not something to be afraid of. It's not something to scare you away. It's just so that we can know that all the hard work we're going to do to raise $20,000 doesn't go to someone who decides the next day that they don't want to go to school anymore, right? And, things come up, things happen, and we understand that. But imagine if you were the one doing all the work to raise $20,000, you want to be able to have some assurance that the people you're giving the money to is actually going to try and do their best to finish up. So that's all this is about.
Yeah, very well said. I think on the contrary, instead of scaring people away, we're trying to get you to come out, because I promise you, we will make things fun. You'll be like, oh, this is what a cleanup is all about. This is what a community hike is all about. I'm all for it. So then, maybe as a whole, as a collaborative group, not even, well, of course, involving the scholarship, but just to feed your soul and your mind. I promise you, it's something that's going to be beneficial for you in the long run, regardless.
And that's what moving forward is all about, right?
Yes.
From the hikes, yes, it's a hike. 1, it's good exercise, right?
Yeah, great exercise.
But 2, a lot of people from the community where I'm from didn't take advantage of these trails that we have access to hike and get exercise. And for whatever reason, a lot of people from our communities, Black and brown people, don't take advantage or haven't taken advantage of those spaces. And it to me, going up into the mountains and hiking in the hills there, and you see the rest of the city, it's inspiring to me.
Yeah.
So that's part of the experience that we are hoping to share with people from the community, so they can see, look how big just the Bay Area is, because you get a nice view of the Bay from there.
You do.
Look how big Richmond is, right? I know people think it's really small, but there's really like 110,000 people in the city. You know, I don't know how many friends you got on Facebook, but it's not 110,000 probably.
Trying.
So you know a lot of people, but not everybody.
Yeah.
So like that's just part of it, and just kind of opening people's eyes to the grander scheme of things sometimes.
We had somebody come out last hike that had never been to Wildcat Canyon and was living in Richmond her whole life. Remember that?
Right, yeah, I remember.
Her whole life.
That's a regular occurrence, actually. People have mentioned that like regularly. Yeah, it's true.
Or they don't even know how big it is. My sister does 10 miles there once a week. And I'm like, dang, you can trek 10 miles with cows and greenery and all that stuff. And didn't know that. Kiana Molina has a great question for you, Anselmo.
Yes.
Kiana Molina has a question for you. What are ways I can do volunteer work with moving forward?
So, the first and foremost is second Saturdays. We do our community cleanup where we go to local parks and help spruce them up a little bit. We make sure that they're clean and safe for people from the community to enjoy, which is super important, especially nowadays with people not being able to get as much time in the gym and stuff. People want to use the park, right? And if you have young children who've been cramped up in the house all day, they want to be able to use the park. But if it's dirty and filthy, it's not as encouraging or inviting for people to take advantage of those spaces. So what we're doing is offering a volunteer day to be able to go out there and clean up a little bit. And so this May 8th, Saturday, 10 a.m., we're going to be at Nevin Park, which is right off of McDonald Avenue. Nevin Park. I don't have the address off the top of my head, but you can find it on the Moving Forward Instagram, Facebook, website. It's everywhere. Google it. Nevin Park will be there 10 a.m. That's one way you can volunteer. And that's a monthly event every second Saturday. We'd love to see you come out and join. But also, we have volunteer opportunities within the organization, which you would need to contact us to get more details on, because they do vary from maybe helping out with the social media pages to maybe passing out information, papers, pamphlets in the community. There's a long list of things we can use help with that you can lend a hand with. Trust me, there's a laundry list.
Yeah. Making a karaoke list, the karaoke, things like that.
Yeah.
And I think Kiana was a student of mine in an after-school program. I don't know if I might be wrong, but I remember that name and that last name.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Kiana.
hopefully.
Perfect.
So
I know a lot of those students are high school students now. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, that was 6 years ago that I did after-school program, so.
Well, time flies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I said you may not know her, but apparently Araceli, she does.
Hey.
There's always an exception.
Yeah. And if she's tuning in, she's already meeting some part of the requirement. So you might as well just keep on, coming out to events, tuning into another podcast, and you getting your requirements in that way.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yay. Hi, Kiana. So nice to see you. Well, hear you.
So if you don't follow us on social media, that's one way to stay in the loop on other volunteer opportunities that we have going on. If you're interested, take a look at Moving Forward 510. That's on Facebook and Instagram. That's where we're mostly at for the latest. There is another optional piece of material that you can include with your application. That is a letter of recommendation or letter of rec.
That's
if you
what I
want to
call
sound cool.
I love reading those. Those are great. Yeah.
So that
Inspiring,
can
huh?
give you a little boost, right? A little boost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another point. Reach out to your teachers ahead of time. Make sure that you give them plenty of time to teachers of community members, family members, someone who's going to write you the letter of recommendation. Give them plenty of time for them to work on it.
And make sure you ask. I hope all your teachers,
Not family members.
Not family members. I hope all your teachers like you. I hope they all do. But don't choose a teacher that doesn't like you to write your recommendation.
Yes.
Don't even ask them. Maybe ask one that likes you, that you believe is going to write some nice things about you. You have a good rapport with, a good relationship. That's important.
Do you think most of your teachers liked you in high school?
No.
No?
That's a hard no.
That's a hard no.
But the ones I work with, yeah, I think. But the ones at school, maybe not. Hey, that's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay.
One of the most memorable applications, I won't put the student on the spot, but I remember very clearly the student's letter of rec. And it was glowing. Everything about the application like was really thoughtfully, planned and well written, but the letter of recommendation set the student apart because the student, the teacher was saying, this isn't a student. This is, I don't consider this a student. I consider this more like a TA. This student is like really insightful, really helpful, always trying to help the other student, goes above and beyond after class, asks questions. And it just like brought a whole other level of maturity. I was like, wow, this kid is 17 and already acting like a teacher's assistant, like an actual teacher aide. And that person didn't have to. So that was actually something that really stood out to me, for sure.
Just thinking about that, right? Maybe your writing skills aren't as strong, right? Maybe someone else can help better describe what you've been able to do in the community. Maybe that letter of rec can give you that boost. And it's like, thinking about it, you don't even have to write it. You just got to ask somebody to write it. So that's kind of easy. That's like, or maybe I know asking is hard. You get used to it over time. Just don't be afraid to ask for help. That's something that I think is something that can help you through life. But make sure that you take advantage of that piece. It's optional, but I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I definitely highly recommend it. Gives you, like you said, the boost of confidence, and it gives you that perspective that you're not going to see yourself, So
That's true.
just a boost. I mean, could it be a boost in the ego? No, it doesn't feed your ego,
I
right?
think
But
so.
Does it?
Well, if that person shares the letter of recommendation with you and then you spend the time to read and you're like, oh, wow, like I didn't even know that about myself, like it does give you a little bit of confidence and be like, okay, it's nice that other people see me and think of me that way. So, yeah.
And I know some people are really humble, right?
Yes.
So they don't want to gloat or seem as though they're just overdoing it in their essay, right? But when you're trying to portray who you are in an essay, and I'm going to read the prompt in just a second so you guys can know exactly what the prompt is, but you got to think that we don't know who you are besides from what you share with us. So maybe it is that someone else can help share a little piece into who you are better than you can yourself if you're shy or maybe. So let me read the prompt. So please, on a separate sheet of paper, when you do this, don't just scribble this on the bottom of the application. Make it look professional. Type it up, right? If you want to make it look good, typed is always nice. MLA format. Put it together professionally. Have someone look at it. Like we said earlier, 250 to 500 words. And this is the question. How has community service shaped who you are today, and what values has it taught you? Describe your plans after graduating and how you plan to impact your community in the future. Strongest responses will answer all questions, which is like basically 2 questions, right?
Yes, my answer is yes.
Yeah, so make sure that you really put some time and effort into that. So like we said earlier, community service is a major focal point of what we're doing, right? And then your plans after graduating.
And in my personal experience, I remember when I was in high school applying to colleges, I think that's something for sure that helped me a lot, my community service. In high school, I was very involved in different after-school programs in school and in my community, which is something that I wasn't in college. And I miss that. I miss that opportunity to have an impact in my community while in college. So for sure, I do encourage everyone to get involved, so that way you have that sense of pride of what you're doing, and at the same time, it could help you network with other people, get to know other people, and when you're applying to scholarships, have a stronger application. Sure.
And not just for our application.
Yeah, no, for any other scholarship application where they ask you for community service, for sure.
I think that's great. Thank you. That's really, really useful information right there. Super important. But I was the opposite of Araceli. I was the one who, if someone asked, I think I mentioned this, to volunteer. Again, super hard. No, if I'm not getting paid, I'm not involved. Don't even ask me. Don't disrespect me for asking me to volunteer.
I think you prefaced that with not just a no. It was something.
A hard
more.
no.
It was more no. It was a hell no. You said.
Hell. Like, but looking back now, right? Bear with me. It's a long way to look back, you know what I'm saying? I'm not that old, no. Look. Looking back now, I would say to my younger self, hey, volunteering can lead to opportunities that money can't even buy, right?
Yes.
Or it can lead to a job opportunity. Maybe you come into a volunteer event and end up with a job. It could be that simple, right? Trust me, it really can be. Or you can meet someone who can later on give you the leg up, right? Someone who can write a letter of recommendation for you. Sometimes at our events, we got city council members coming out, people who are executive directors from organizations. Important people come sometimes to the events, and you can meet these people, build relationships. They see you in the community doing volunteer work, right? And you build rapport. So they start to know who you are, right? So imagine if they had 2 applications later on down the road, someone who they know, someone who they don't know, you got a leg up already. Mm-hmm. And so trust me, volunteer work is super, super helpful. It's opened a lot of doors for me. And I know maybe I'm making up for lost time now with the amount of volunteer work that I've been involved with over the course of the past 5 years or so. But trust me, it's opened up so many opportunities just for me. So trust me, get involved.
And then, another thing that I also want to say, in a time where mental health and illness is such, it's out there a lot more, and it seems like a lot of people are even going through it more. Going out and helping out in the community will help with that mental stability. You will get to meet and talk to a bunch of great people. I am yet to see somebody or meet somebody at a community event that isn't positive and motivated to do something outside of their norm. And that can translate onto paper, if you believe it or not. If you're in a good mood and if you're feeling good about yourself, that's going to reflect in your personal statement and in your attitude in general. So that's another thing that can also help with your candidacy in any application, job application. If you have to go in for an interview, or this kind of stuff really does help me for sure, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. But that's just my 2 cents.
That's life in general, honestly. Like, it do good unto others, and people do good on you at the end of the day.
Yeah, Bruce Lee said that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like quoting Bruce Lee, huh?
So yeah. I always feel accomplished after every cleanup, every event that we do. There's a sense of accomplishment. It's like they say, like, there's no such thing as a bad workout. Every time you go to the gym, you feel good.
Yes.
It's that same feeling after a cleanup or after you are involved in the event. You feel like, I did something good. It's something that does uplift you. And I'd like to mention, our events are fun.
They are.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Truth.
I was waiting for some,
backlash
on that.
Oh.
All right. Thank you.
Really, all of the events. I remember going to the free fitness classes, and we had a blast. I used to take my mom with me, and we would go work out. Oh, nice.
She's going out. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. No, they're all fun.
Did she like it?
She loved it. She loved it. She said it's one of the best Zumba classes that and my mom, I'm telling you, she Zumba. She
doesn't look like someone who will fluff it up at all. So
she won't.
I value her opinion.
Yeah, she was like, it was great. And the thing I think that she likes about it the most as well is that the people that get there and that go are so encouraging, and they're such a team.
For sure.
They're not going to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. They're going to take it at your pace. So she loved that fact. I think the first time she actually went to one of our fitness classes was the boot camp class.
Ooh.
I tricked her and I said it's Zumba, you know. But she came back and she was like, "No, it's pretty good. That was pretty good." Actually, Selma was the one who tortured her that
Yeah,
night.
she almost killed me, but I said, "Hey, Jay's the one that sent you here." Hey,
Did. Yeah.
You know? But if you
She killed the
aren't
messenger.
aware,
But she loved it though. She loved both classes. So that's
Tuesdays and Thursdays. 6 p.m. at Martin Luther King Park. Information's on the moving forward 510.
Yeah.
Yep.
So with that being said, we are getting close to the conclusion to that hour mark of the show. This is usually Araceli where we give our shout outs. We usually start from the right side and then bring it all the way back down to the guests, to the premier guests. So in Selma, did you have any shout outs that you want to give out tonight?
First, I want to shout out Derek. He's going to be leading the hike on this Saturday, May 1st, 10 a.m., Alvarado Park. So Derek, shout him out. And then the following week, we got a whole ton of organizations. We're going to have probably our biggest cleanup of this year at least. So come out. That's going to be at Nevin. And we are coordinating that with the Richmond Museum. So if you didn't know we had a museum in Richmond, we got a museum in Richmond, and they're going to allow exclusive, special, early access to the museum for free. So come out to the cleanup from 10 to 12, and after from 12 to 4, they're going to have the museum open for free for you to come out and check out. There's a couple restaurants in the neighborhood. You can get some lunch there if you wanted to. Lydia's, shout out Lydia's. And then you could go to the nice museum and check it out.
Will there be coffee and donuts?
Of course, coffee and donuts.
Nice.
Mandatory.
Hoke D, did you have any shout outs that you want to give out?
Yes. Okay. So shout out to Leslie. Shout out to Lady, of course. And then shout out to our guest, Araceli. Thank you so much. And for volunteering all these years and being as pleasant as you are to work with and, you know, putting your all into it. So huge shout out to you, for sure.
I want to shout out the fitness instructors Tuesdays and Thursdays, holding it down, doing their thing, making it very comfortable for people to get out there at a beginner level and work out and have a great 1 hour workout. And I want to shout out New Hampshire. New Hampshire doesn't get enough shout outs. So I wanted to bring that out. I wanted to shout them out. Oh, and Crucito, that's in Canada.
Oh, Crucito.
Yeah.
That's Jay's doggy. The world traveler.
Okay. The star of the night, the lady of the night. Araceli, did you have any shout outs that you want to give out?
Yes, I know you guys do this at the end, so I have a whole list. So
Okay.
you can get ready. Thank you, Dana, for the kind words. It's my pleasure to be part of moving forward, and like I said, I hope to be part of it for many more years to come. Okay, so shout out to all the after school coordinators out there who provide that space,
That's awesome.
safe space for kids after school. Shout out to my brothers. Shout out to, there's this really cool after school organization called Radical Monarch, which is like they empower girls of color, I think ages 8 to 12. They're looking for troopers for their troop here in Richmond. So if you're interested, you have any girl youth who want to be part of that, and shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We told you this hour is going to go by super
It
quick.
did. It did.
Super quick. Always happens. So, got all the shout outs out the way. Thank you so much for those rejoining us. And if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And with that being said, let's hit those outro credits, please.